Good morning, everyone. I'm Kate Pittman with the Vibe Creative District and your Virginia Beach Creative Mornings host. Thank you all for coming out today. It has been such a pleasure to run this with this amazing team of people. And hopefully you know those players that have been showing up for over 2 years now to help bring this to you all. Thank you very much to Tessa Hall-Duquette, our physical space host here. We need this space and places like this to gather, so we really appreciate you letting us crash. And we're going to go ahead and celebrate the new year with a really amazing speaker, Kip Poole. But we'll introduce him in a minute. I do want to shout out the global sponsor for Creative Mornings is Adobe, and our local sponsors here in Virginia Beach are our Arts and Humanities Commission with the City of Virginia Beach. The Vibe District would not be here without that critical support from our city. Thank you, Councilmember Worth Remick, who's here today. Thank you, Sunny, for serving on our Arts and Humanities Commission. Did any other commissioners pop in today? Okay, great. So thank you all for that support. It is critical for this. All right, are we ready for our manifesto? Rachel?
Okay, does everyone have one of these? Yeah? All right, we're going to say this together. Everyone is creative. A creative life requires bravery and action, honesty and hard work. We are here to support you, celebrate with you, and encourage you to make the things you love. We believe in the power of community. We believe in giving a damn. We believe in face-to-face connections and learning from others in hugs and high fives. We bring together people who are driven by passion and purpose, confident in that we will inspire one another and inspire change in neighborhoods and cities around the world. Everyone is welcome.
Thank you, Rachel. All right, Sunny, would you like to come up and read the theme?
Thank you, Kate. Good morning, everyone. Our theme for January is Koor-soo. It was chosen by our Tehran chapter in Iran and illustrated by Hoda Rami. Koor-soo is a Farsi word meaning a glimmer of hope. Each month, a different Creative Mornings chapter chooses a theme for our talks given in cities around the world. This year, many of our monthly themes will be in the chapter's local language. Our hope is that this will give each theme a richer meaning and foster deeper connections to other communities and cultures. Our Tehran chapter has had this to say about the significance of this month's theme. In our darkest hours, when everything seems to have dimmed, sometimes a light remains, not bright, not certain, but real. That is Koor-soo, a faint glimmer of hope that dares to survive. Koor-soo is not about triumph or clarity. It is about the fragile yet unwavering light that keeps us going. A glance, a memory, a word, small things that prevent collapse. It represents the quiet resilience of those who continue in spite of the weight, who believe without guarantee. In a world that often normalizes despair, Koor-soo is a rebellion, soft but profound. It reminds us even the smallest spark matters. As a new year begins, ask yourself, what is giving me hope now? It's up to us to keep that little light shining, protect it, hold it dear. But be careful not to smother it. Share your Koor-soo with the people around you because the world needs all the hope it can get. Now for Val.
I am so excited to welcome Kip, although he needs no introduction. We have done our best to condense his bio because it's quite exhaustive. From washing meatloaf pans to working with celebrity chefs, Chef Kip Poole's 30-year culinary career has been centered on creating community. After working in restaurants throughout high school, Kip earned his degree from Virginia Tech. His internship at Walt Disney World showed him the importance of exceptional hospitality, and being the Kids Club director at Philadelphia Country Club showed him just how much kids enjoy real good food. Inspired by his early experience working with kids, Kip returned to college after several years in the restaurant business, with the conviction to teach and inspire a new generation of culinary enthusiasts. In 2011, he received his master's in education from Wilmington University. During this time, Kip competed in the Food Network's acclaimed show, Guy's Grocery Games, hosted by Guy Fieri, worked in acclaimed restaurants, and served as the executive chef of Obis One, an inventive food specialty and farm. In 2014, Kip founded the Crop Foundation, known as Crop, addressing students' need for mentorship and direction. Over the past decade, Kip's beloved nonprofit has provided hundreds of students with the opportunity to train and work in real-world kitchens and restaurant environments. With a passion for inspiring young culinary leaders and supporting all things local, Kip also served as executive chef for the Virginia Beach City Public Schools Scratch Cooking Program before partnering with local farm-to-table restaurant Commune as executive chef of Commune by Crop. In 2022, Kip was one of 3 Virginia-based chefs to appear on HBO Max's The Big Brunch, a reality culinary competition executive produced by Emmy Award-winning actor, producer, and creator Dan Levy. It was this experience that served as an impetus to open Yorkie's in 2024. The modern deli market combines convenience, sustainability, and community engagement, all while serving as a stage for Crop students who serve as the cooks and servers at the restaurant. When he's not cooking, dreaming, or helping create opportunities for the community, Kip enjoys traveling and spending time outdoors with his wife, Kristen, his daughter, Grace, and their 2 dogs, Turtle and Bailey.
Hey, guys. Hi. I'm not going to use a microphone. Everybody can hear me, I think. This is awesome. As much as that long bio, it sounds like I've done this before, but I've spoken in front of a lot of people, but not in front of like a room like this. So bear with me. But we're just going to talk. And I'm pretty sure I can do that, especially with 2 cups of coffee and these people in this room. I'm pretty sure I know like 90% of you guys, and we've already talked before. So we were going to watch a little video, and then we weren't going to watch a video, and then I put some slides together, and we're going to do this just very nonchalant, but I think it tells my story pretty well. But I hope I'm not telling my story. I hope I'm telling like everyone's story, and I hope I'm talking about the community. I'm hoping to talk about like what I've done, what I wish to do, and what my future hopes to look like. So that's me. It's kind of like that new John Candy documentary. It was like, I like me. I do like me, but I like everybody else too, and that's kind of like the point of this. It's and I'll start this way. It's like I never wanted to be number one. When I was a soccer player, I wasn't very good until I found out that I like teaching more, and then I was just like, wow, if I teach, then people are getting better at it. So when we started winning like districts. I went to Churchland High School, and like Churchland didn't play soccer. And I was like, I'm not very good at this sport, but if I train and show people how hard you can work and how hard that you can educate and how hard that you can work at being number one, we all can be number one. So then I kind of like thought about that my entire life. I was like, I don't need to be number one. And I'm sticking with that. I never want to be number one, but I definitely want to help people be number one because they want it a lot better than I do. So that kind of goes right into this. I'm not going to tell you my life history because it won't be boring because there's a lot of cool stuff in there. But we're gonna start where this like really like started, and it started at this place right here. So I started at a school outside of Philadelphia called William Penn, AKA William Penitentiary. No joke. And everybody was like, you do not want to work there. And I was like, that's absolutely where I want to work. I got my master's, and they were like, I wanted to teach 4th grade, 5th grade. And then all of a sudden, because I quit culinary because I was overwhelmed, I was exhausted, I couldn't do anything but work. Still in the same situation, but we'll get to my wonderful wife. Wherever she is, there she is. I'll probably be pointing to her a lot. So I got this job, and we got a massive grant through the Head Start grant, Head Start, which was a huge grant. I think it was like $250,000, which right now that's probably not anything. Opening up a business, that's nothing. But we got this grant, and I went into the interview, and they were just like, "You got it!" Like after doing it, and they handed me keys, and they showed me the kitchen, which was a dirt floor. I was like, "What do you want me to do? I've never opened up a kitchen before." And then I took a walk. I had a puppy at the time. It's Turtle. We'll hear a lot about Turtle lately. That's Turtle too, but Turtle's still with us. He's still a good boy. He's still a young boy. He's only 9 years old. But I used to take him on walks when I was trying to get into this, being a culinary teacher. And on this property was the Penn Farm. It was abandoned. Everything was overgrown. I was like, what in the world are we not doing here? These kids started showing up at my class and did not want to leave. They didn't want to go home, and we don't need to get into that, but that's, I mean, you know why they didn't want to go home. It was underprivileged families, poor meals, poor nutrition, gang violence, drugs, everything, and hopefully I don't start crying up here, which I was going to tell you guys I might start crying for other reasons up here, but that's okay, we've all cried. And just bear with me on that. So I saw this, and I saw the potential in every single thing about these kids. Everything, like these kids who would cuss me out, and they're like, "Who are you, this young teacher coming in here?" And I'm like, "Come on, man, just like let's work together." And then I just want to see the best in every kid. I want to see the best in every person. So that's what my job is. So I took this abandoned barn, and like the second week, I went to the principal. I was like, "I want to clean that barn out." He was like, "Okay." So I took my kids on a field trip. It was right through the woods. It was like a quarter of a mile away on property. We turned it into this. So I obviously didn't do the woodwork, but we had some money, and it was already planted. This was actually William Penn's farm, like back in the day. There's so much history. And then I took this, and I was just like, okay, so let's do a little bit more. These kids are showcasing what they can do. And again, if you give them what they need, they can do anything. And that's the same thing as us. Like if you give anybody that you work with the time, the space, the energy, then they can do anything they want. It's a blank canvas. I say that all the time. The people, especially at my work, I use Yorkies as a blank canvas. We'll get there hopefully if I don't run out of time. But I took this, and then I was like, you know what? Let's host a party. So I did. And these students right here, and I could tell you stories about Joey and Sean. I talk to them regularly. Still, I couldn't even tell you how long ago. And I was like, let's have these kids throw an epic, dope ass party. So I did. We cooked in the basement. These are, again, every student has a story, but we took the vegetables from the garden that the kids grew. We threw a party, and this kid right here, I mean, again, you see these so upset kids that didn't want to go home and then turn into this. Maybe not so much, I don't know this kid anymore, so we'll just say Powder. So the chances of his parents being here is slim to none. But I still talk to Naya, and I still talk to Jacob. Jacob was in gun violence before this photo. He got shot multiple times. I was there with him at the hospital with his parents when I found that out. And then this is about a year later, and then now he's a chef in Philadelphia. And we turn it into a party. This is a very early party. Like this is like, we're talking about this was a party, because I was in like Wilmington, Delaware. There's not a lot of things to do in Wilmington, Delaware. And then hopefully I'll touch on this, was just like, I did so much in Wilmington, Delaware. My dad, who we'll talk about in a little bit, was like, okay, you've done enough, come home. And at the end of the party, they felt good. And this made me feel like I needed to keep doing this. I started seeing all these unhappy people that didn't want to go on the bus and turned back around, and they did something. From everything from the hospitality to printing the menus to doing the social media to this Dalia right here. She was the front of the house general manager at 17 years old. Now she works at the Ritz-Carlton in Miami. And she has a crazy story, but we don't have time for, like, every single one of these people right here has an insane story, and I could tell you every single thing about it. And then what's cool about this is that is the same picture that you guys are gonna take right here. So this is the energy that we need, and we have it, and what I'm talking about at the Vibe. And I pulled all these together in Wilmington, Delaware, and Philadelphia, and said that we can do this. So again, every single person. This is a farmer in New Jersey. This is a potter. Is that, we're an artist. Is that a potter? This is a potter in North Carolina that I met through a relative who supplied the plateware and taught kids how to do it in school. Boom. And then his name is Nate, who has Felton Fat in Philadelphia, which is one of the biggest and coolest places, and we have those plates over there. And he donated stuff. And then again, celebrity chefs from like all over Philadelphia area, and now he has his own restaurant. And then there's people in this room that are on here that just help put it together. This guy right here was 12 years old, and he was our DJ. Because he wanted to do that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, okay, well, let's do it. If you screw up, then we've learned, right? So we did this. And then I was like, if we're doing this, we might as well sell some tickets. So we sold tickets, and then I started awarding all of these people money to get to school to the next level because they didn't want to stay in Wilmington, but none of us wanted to stay in Virginia, but then we came back. Most likely, that's a story of all of us, because we always find out that we're just like, man, I don't want to stay here. I don't want to be in Portsmouth anymore. That's where I'm from. But then you're just like dying to come back, because that's what it's all about. And that's what we try to do, is we want to try to get people to do their thing and then come back. So again, stories about all these guys. So then we kept on doing it. And then the Crop Foundation kind of counted. I was like, you know what? If I build a nonprofit, we'll kill it. Like, there's nothing to do around here. There's a lot of cool buildings around here. And then I was like, let's throw a party in an abandoned building. And how you get to it is there's high school kids playing saxophone in downtown. And if you hear a saxophone, you get closer to it, and then there's a password. So then we had a lot of fun with the ideas. Cool thing to do around here, right? So we did this, and it was all about Prohibition Act. So we had all these fun cocktails, and then the money would go back to the kids, right? That's my niece and nephew. They don't look like that anymore. Nor do I. And then throughout this process, how things work, life works. I had a daughter, and I was like, I got to work hard. I got to do this. So then I was like, man, I got to work harder. I had 4 jobs. I literally had 4 jobs. I was a teacher. I was a sommelier, kinda. I was a server, and I was a bartender at this shitty bar on Sundays. And basically, that was my day off. And I was like, drinking one, handing one for free, so I'd make some money, because I had to do everything I possibly can, because I was a single dad, bought a house in the hood. And when I say the hood, she can fence for that. Like, it was the hood. But I loved it. Like, I was a man of the hood. All right. So I was like, at that time, I was like, I got to do it for her. I got to do everything in my life. Like, things happen. And that's Grace, my daughter, eating a hot dog. She likes hot dogs. She doesn't really like anything else like hot dogs and turkey. And then I took it to the next level, and I was like, let's serve alcohol at these things, and let's do it the right way. So we started doing a wine tasting. I was like, Kevin, 16 years old, and I was like, I need you to learn about wine and do a wine class. 6-course tasting meal in this mansion in Buena Vista outside of Philadelphia. So we did a wine tasting. Now he's literally, like, if you look up Kevin Castro, like, he's one of the most known bartenders in Philadelphia now. Like, it is insane, just because I gave him a little push. And I paid for his SOM test and, like, helped him out. Don't get me started. Again, after that party, we get together. We always dance at the end of the party. We get together, and all of these people, like the people in this room, we put it together, and we made it happen. This is another event that we did on a steam train. There's like 4 steam trains in the country. There was one outside of Philadelphia. So what did we do? We turned it into a carnival. We put people on the train. We traveled. We served tartare and different types of popcorn. We came back and we created this old school like circus style event. That's the Crop. So that's what I was doing there. And then I was like, wow, all of this pushed these people to work harder, and they want to be number one because I pushed them that way. Again, I didn't need to be the best teacher, although I won Teacher of the Year, and and I won Teacher of the Year in the state of Delaware. But I mean, that's me being pompous, never pompous, no reason for that. But it made my kids work harder. And then for my kids working harder, they won states every single year in Delaware that I was there, and then we went to nationals. And then all these people started sponsoring them. And I'm like, okay, cool, I'm gonna work them harder. So then we got invited to do Porsche, Lamborghini events, McLaren events, all of this stuff in Philadelphia. And when I say we did events based on like Porsche and Lamborghini and all that stuff, like we were serving like German food, and they were like floored. Like we were in the Lamborghini warehouse, and these kids were in like their homes are a quarter size of this, and they were around these cars. And then we had people actually end up working in their kitchens of Lamborghini and Porsche outside on Main City. And then I was like, I want to do this at home. So like, I want to do it here. And then I think there's a photo that's going to kind of tell this story, but I met Dave, who owns Toast, and he was like, dude, you got to do one of those events here at Toast. And so I did an event, and then I pulled together the community, and not only did I do an event, but I did an event that was based on the elements of the world, like, you know, fire, water, air. And so this was the fire station. And I brought students from my school all the way down here to do this event. And it was like it was the whole area. Was there, George, were you there? Yeah, okay. And it was a cool ass event. And I was like, man, I'm doing events now in Virginia. So Crop is now in Virginia. I brought fire, like people were like tossing fire, tossing water, like it was insane. We had fans and like origami, like with fans all over the place. I was like, damn, this is really fucking cool. All right, and then I met this wonderful woman. This is Kristen, she's here. It would be weird if she wasn't. But she was living in Philadelphia at the time, and that's where I was. And I was like, wow. And then she ended up moving, and then I was like, then she broke my heart. That's all I always say, because she was like, I don't want to do a long distance because I'm going to go to New York. But then I bugged her forever, and then she ended up moving back to Virginia Beach, and I was like, is this a sign? You know? So I was like, I'm moving home. I'm going to do it because my dad always told me, he was like, okay, you've done enough up there. Do it here, like where your roots are. Let's do it here. So I came back here. I got the job as the executive chef of Virginia Beach Public Schools. And I was like, that's the last thing that I want to do. But it was for scratch cooking. And this is really, really important, right? So like, I was so thrilled about this. I was like, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. So the first thing I did, I went to Commune because I started like really talking to Kevin Jameson, who used to own Commune. And I was like, I want to throw a party there. And then my office at the time was at ODS. And I started meeting all of these students, and these students, like, again, I can find the best in every kid. I really can. But ODS, you don't need to do that. Like you literally like, hey, can you do this? Like, yes, like they're just, okay, can you make me a piece of pottery that like looks like me? And I was like, yeah, sure, give me an hour. But they did everything. So I pushed them to throw an event. I didn't have anything to do with it. I mean, I did, but they're like, let's show a food case on like insecurity. Like, let's make food like look cool from leftovers. Let's do this. So they did that, and it was a cool ass party. And I got people involved from all over Virginia Beach, all over Norfolk. I think I had like 13 schools from this area. A lot of work. Everything that I do is a lot of work, but I'm just very passionate on what I do. But I've also learned that passion is a scary word too. It often gets you in trouble, like just like if you're so passionate, you get overwhelmed, you get you get burned out and all that kind of stuff. But you see all this stuff. Kaya, she maybe a year later, she was on Youngest Baking Chef Show or whatever. I'm pretty sure she won. Now she works at High Street Pizza in Portsmouth. She's about to go to culinary school, like insane. But this was cool. So this was School Gardens. Like this whole station was School Gardens. The taco shells were made out of like beet juice, spinach, like we juiced it, and like we show the kids like cool ways to eat. And that's again a whole nother story. Is like if we just show them different ways to eat things, they'll do it. You know, instead of like eating fried potato bowls, like there's no reason to go get some rutabagas and some turnips and fry those. They have no idea. So just teach them different ways. And I think we'll talk about that. And then other things at Virginia Beach Public Schools, I was like, look, if I get this job and I got it, there's a lot of headaches, and we will not get into that. And that word, I'm sure we have teachers in here, but that bureaucratic word is huge. but I stepped on so many toes, I loved it. So I built gardens every school I went to. I only got to 9 schools out of 81, but that's a huge accomplishment while I was there. But every school I touched, I grew a garden. And every vegetable that was here, we put it in the school cafeteria, no matter if it was like a little tiny radish. If it was a little tiny radish, I remember I was at ODS and a little girl came up to me and she was like, Chef Poole, I grew this, can we put it in the menu? I was like, you absolutely can. It was a radish. And so I got her to clean it, cut it, and put it on the salad bar. I made her day, and I don't know what she's doing now. I don't follow every student, but we just kept on doing that. And I actually think that's a picture from Cook, because actually my wife and I built the garden at Cook, and they maintain that really well. And then I was like, well, let's do this a step further and teach these cafeteria ladies. And when I say ladies, it is 99.9% ladies. I started giving them certifications. Even if it was a piece of paper and we made it pretty, I would hold classes, teach them how to cook, and then they kind of felt a little bit more honored. I'm trying to push these people to be number one. I don't really care about being number one, but now they have a chef jacket. And a chef jacket, to a lot of people, for me, I don't know the last time I've worn a chef jacket. But putting a chef jacket on somebody gives them a little bit more like courage, and just like, you know what? I don't want to cook out of this box. I want to cook these vegetables. And I started seeing it. And then we started doing kids classes. And this look on all these, they're amazed, they're ready to rock. And then I kind of just got pushed aside. And again, I'm obviously saying it on the record. But they told me I was working too hard. They were like, at 3 o'clock, they were like, go home. And I'm like, I'm not done. And they're like, it's time to go home. It was like, school gardens, you can't eat the vegetables out of the garden. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get myself in trouble if I keep going this direction. But I was like, I need to go somewhere else. And then I met Kevin Jameson, and Kevin Jameson from Commune was like, what if you were the executive chef and everything that you're doing, you could do it here? And I was like, I'm in. It'll make me happier. I think I had 2 jobs. I was working at Smartmouth because I wasn't working enough at Virginia Beach. And then I took over Commune Norfolk, but then I was kind of running Commune Virginia Beach, and I was like, everything I'm doing there, let's do it at Commune. So then I did crop parties at Commune. And this is where I did a party with Joel Salatin, and I think Joel Salatin is actually now the director of agriculture or something, but like he is the farmer. If you need a book to read anything Joel Salatin. So I brought chefs in from the area because we weren't in Philly anymore. So, we have Terrapin here teaching my students, and I love this photo because this is what it's all about. Like, she then got excited. I think she actually started working at Terrapin right after this. And then COVID happened. And COVID happened, I was like, we'll go through this so we can get to the end. I got a little bit more time. But I was like, you know what? We have to survive this thing that's happening. So I started doing private dinners where people could call the restaurant and students and the staff could literally cook for you. I don't care if it's 4 people, I don't care if it's 6 people, but we had private seating in Commune, and we used local farms only and students and education to cook. So we just started doing pretty ass food, is what I kind of called it, right? So this is the stuff that I really love to do. I love pretty ass food. I mean, Yorkies, we haven't even talked about Yorkies. I'm not supposed to talk about it, but it's about the story. But I love cooking pretty ass food. And then I did more cooking classes. And this is what I love seeing. Like this girl, I don't know her name, but she's obviously having a great time. And then I did more things, and I was like, it's all about creating experiences, all about going number one. So we got invited to do a cocoa challenge through Crop, and we did it at the old Grow. Well, actually, it wasn't even Grow then. It was at Enjoy. And I was like, me up here saying number one, not being number one. But the kids did it, and I remember one of my Crop students was like, look, we're gonna win this. I'm like, good, I like that energy out of you because I don't wanna win. I want you to win. So, but I will make it snow. And I was like, we're gonna make it snow in Norfolk. So I was like, I had kids playing in the snow in Norfolk drinking hot chocolate. It doesn't matter if your hot chocolate is that good, but if they're gonna remember it, right? So it's snowing outside, we're selling Rice Krispie treats. No kid doesn't like Rice Krispie treats, but it will snow on the roof of Yorkies one day, I promise. I had liquid nitrogen making marshmallows and like letting the kids pour liquid nitrogen in there. It's about the experience, okay? So, and about creating an opportunity. Hence, CROP, FYI, CROP, creating opportunity. It never meant anything. There was no acronym for anything. It was always CROP because I was like, all right, crops, they grow, we grow, like the abundance, cool, never meant anything. But we're 11 years now, I was like creating opportunities. We won. I didn't win, they won. And this is a great photo. And then I started working with organizations, Teens with Purpose. Teens with Purpose is a phenomenal, and I think she spoke. Phenomenal organization. And they had a farm about a half a mile from Commune, Norfolk. And then I was like, I want to buy everything that y'all grow. And this kind of shows the way that I educate, right? So they brought vegetables. He's the man, by the way. He just spoke, or not just spoke, but he speaks at a lot of the events around here for the big Pharrell events and all that kind of stuff. But they brought me all their vegetables and herbs and sold them to me. And I was like, dude, I'm in. I'm not buying any of this though. Because I was like, what do you got here? They're like, well, I got some herbs. I got some lettuce. And I was like, all right, how much? It was like, this guy who's like, I don't know, maybe like a dub. And I'm like, what? And I was like, all right, let's restart this. I'm not gonna tell you anything to practice on, but this was not the right way to do it. I said, come back to me next week. They came back to me, everything was labeled, they told me how much what everything was, they knew about it, and then he started washing their vegetables and I started buying their vegetables from them. And then but Teens with Purpose did that. I just kind of like told them, like, again, she's amazing, that organization is amazing. And so I started buying all their stuff. All right, and then there's the journeys throughout the way of the people that you meet, and we'll kind of talk a little bit about this. This is a guy who I met, his name's Reese. He's extremely autistic, and I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you like anything like his diagnosis and all that kind of stuff, but these people are the people that you do it for. And he came into Commune, and I hire CROP students. Like I sit down with them, and his mom was like, he doesn't like loud noises. He doesn't like tight spaces. He doesn't like, high, fast-paced places. I'm like, well, why the hell is he here? But I took him, and he's still with me to this day. And he's totally, like, he works front of the house, he'll work back of the house. Like, he's just always happy. He went to a culinary school in Wilson, Virginia for autistic kids, and he graduated college. I went to go see him. He showed me his dorm room, and he was just so thrilled about it. Now he works with me. Like, he works with CROP, but he's still an employee at Commune. He's still an employee at Yorkies. Like it's the energy that you need. And it's all just by like kind of leading. And that's what we do. And then here's the story of Turtle, right? And my wonderful wife. And I was like, well, let's take this to the next step. And I was like, I was trying to think of the cartoon. Somebody can do it in the 2010, 2015, Yo Gabba Gabba. So Yo Gabba Gabba had a lot of energy. Yo Gabba Gabba was like puppets, like DJs, like everything like that. I was like, I want to do this. I haven't done it, but I was like, one day I'll do it. So I wanted to create Turtle. So Turtle's not my wife's nickname. That's my dog, Turtle. So Brent, which we'll talk about, is a student of mine and I taught him. He moved here and became the executive chef at Commune because he kind of wanted to follow me to continue this. His sister, with autism, and I don't want to keep saying that word because it's just so powerful. They're so strong and like just have so much energy and she built that. It looks just like Turtle. All right, and you're going to see Turtle in the future, but he's going to start teaching kids education classes soon at Yorkies. All right, and it was such a great puppet, and that's Turtle. His eyes change and everything, but we will stay tuned to student or adults. Adults can come to these cooking classes, but he started teaching culinary classes at Commune. It was pretty cool. We didn't go very far with it because my mind is just like, I got to do this, I got to do that. All right, these are the two. That's Brent, and that's Beatrice. And Beatrice works at Dristy now, and she is just amazing. And these kids are from Delaware. So back again, the Koor-soo, she said it's so great, is like the glimpse of hope. It's like these kids, she came to my classroom way back in the day and hid in the dishwashing area because she spoke no English and she did not, she couldn't interact with students or anything. Brent was on every type of drug there was and would speed into culinary class and miss my class all the time, but I was just like, don't worry, just come through the back door, just stay here, don't check in the office, like we'll figure things out. They're holding a magazine from the Washington Post, not Virginia Pilot, that hit the Virginia Pilot, but the Washington Post about what they did at Commune for the COVID meals. So it's just like lead them in the direction. Lead them to be number one, and then you're gonna start seeing that stuff. So then we get to a bigger picture. Robbie's here. So Robbie Wells, Robbie will be like, no, shut his face. But Robbie called me one day, I was at Commune, he was like, hey man, I met him through Kevin, and Robbie was like, can you do a party for like 500 people called the Elephant in the Elephant in the Room? Elephant in the Room for like 500 people at Norfolk State University. I was like, no. I was like, I work with like students, but I was like, I'll try. I was like, let me talk to Kevin. He was like, by the way, it's like in a month and a half. And I had no idea with events this size, but we did it, right? We did it, and it was all students with leadership. That's it. So the food, this is probably one of the best events that I've ever done, we've done, because we had like 5 stations. We had to plan everything. It started raining right at the end of it, so everybody got to go home, and then I had to clean up this shit. All right. But guess who got acknowledged at this thing? So not this guy, these guys. And like all the same people came from Delaware, Philly, Delaware. This guy still comes. I still work with like 3 or 4 of these people at Yorkies because they keep kind of coming back to me. So we threw these big events. And then we kept on doing cool things. I was like, well, New Earth was part of Commune, so we started doing these summer camps. Why not do summer camps to show people how to do it? But we started doing it on the farms. They would sell out so quickly, right? So we would go out to New Earth, and Kevin would meet us and be like, hey, this is edible, this is edible, this is edible, this is edible. And then I started seeing like kids start eating grass. I was like, is this edible? I actually got in trouble. My 40th birthday, I ate something on a hike, and I didn't feel so good. I missed my last day of celebration because I was like, oh yeah, this is a da-da-da-da. See, the book says it. But don't do that. So we started having these classes, and this is just a funny picture because it was in my bio. I worked at Disney World, and again, we're almost over. But I worked at Disney World, but I actually was told to go home. And I won't get into this, but I got told to go home. All my friends got fired. And this is me going back like 5 years and saying I'm still a cast member. But I got fired by doing like the right thing. And we can talk about that if y'all want to do that. But that's the thing. It's like I didn't really do anything wrong. And this is just another photo. So we take things to the next level. So like this is like my kind of Yorkie pitch. It's like we're not just a sandwich place. We're not just a deli. We do everything. So like this was charcoaled oysters with a lemongrass puree and lovage that this guy foraged that day for this event. You know, and then a year later or 2 years later, Robbie calls and says, hey, can you do an event for like 500 people here? You guys know where this is? MacArthur Mall. I was like, what? And then he showed me a big tent, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. So we did Mighty Dream, which led to a lot of cool things. It led to this. And this is kind of maybe like where I start getting teary up because this was so much more than a show. If anyone's seen it, my mom is the first person to tell you that it wasn't truly me. When I was on that show because I was going through so many emotions, and this show was like I was on Guys Grocery Games, and that show was great. If you haven't seen that, I was dressed up as a woman running all over the place. That was me. That's weird. But I did really good, and I won that. Like Guy Fieri, Summers, what's his name from Double Dare? Mark Summers. Like they were the judges, and they're like, dude, you won that show. And I'm like, thank you. But I didn't because that was TV. This show was as real as a fucking show could be. Excuse my language, sorry. X that out. Every one of these cast members, I still talk to every single one of them but one, but that's, again, a long story. But we're all on a group chain, and we talk, I would say 3 times a week. about something, our journeys, whatever we're going on. But I'm not going to go down the list of how amazing every single one of them is. But I mean, I'm speaking in Charlottesville with this guy, Antoine, at the Tom Tom Festival. I think that's what it's called, like in April. Like Jay and Katie want to come here and do an event, and I'm like, sign me up because they are great. I mean, they're just great. This is like a show that really taught you how to go. And I told my mom and told everybody, told Krista, I was like, I'm never going on a show again because it is so stressful. But then I went on this one, and then like, no joke, the first day, you go on stage and like Dan comes out and Dan's like, all right, guys, I'm gonna, here are the judges, Will Gadara, which is like, again, I could talk forever, but this is Will Gadara right here. If you have not read, this is not my pitch. I don't get any money for this, but if you haven't read this, this is not a book from culinary. It's not a book about, cooking. This is a book about hospitality, and hospitality is in every one of our businesses. I don't care what you do, other than if you work at that restaurant, I think it's called like Dick's, where you're supposed to be a dick. Read this. So this just tells you the story about truly being hospitality. And I say it all the time. He says that service is black and white, where hospitality is in color. And that you have to really think about that. And then everybody was like, Dan Levy. And I saw Will Gadara, and I was like, Will Gadara is here. He owned 11 Madison Park, which is the #1 restaurant in the world. And it tells you his story a little bit about him. But then we kept in touch because he signed that book, like, I mean, you can see it, but it was like, your passion is contagious. Make sure you sell those kale chips wherever you go, whatever you go. And then we went on this show, and this was like, I think like the third episode or the third episode, but Dan came out to us at the very beginning, introduced everybody, da-da-da-da-da, and I was like, oh, starstruck looking at Will. Everybody's talking to Dan, and I'm looking at Will because Will is literally the nicest human in the world. I'm not gonna get into the last time I saw him, which was like in September. But this changed my life because Dan immediately said, all right, guys, now that you've seen the set, tell us where you're from. And he said, and the clock went, go. There wasn't any rules and regulations. There wasn't a tour of the kitchen. And we had to show them where we were from in 60 minutes, 3 courses. And I was like, fuck, this is real. And I'm looking at everybody else, and we're like this, and like 4 of them already started cooking because they've been on shows before. But I did oysters, of course. I did pimento cheese, of course. I made biscuits, of course. They didn't show up. But this show really was just like, do it. Like, show your passion and do it. So like a couple months later, met Will. Again, guys, follow him, talk to him. Like, he has a lot of ties to Virginia. His wife, Christina Tosi, from Milk Bar, is from Charlottesville. She's great. Had an opportunity to meet her. And again, it kind of all circles back to this. And I'm going to skip over this really quick. This is why I wasn't here in September. I'm going to look at the ground so I don't start crying. But this is my dad. If you didn't know, that this is York. This is Yorkie. And he got me back here to start doing all of this stuff because of Crop Foundation, and he's always supported that. And then I got these kind of shirts made because it was all about ask me about my future. Because it's not about culinary, it's not about hospitality, it's about sending them to be first place and teaching them how to be first place. And that photo didn't come out very well, but that's my beautiful wife. And because I have her, and again, looking at this, and because I work long hours, and because I don't get home, last time I've cooked, I don't even want to tell you the last time I've cooked in my kitchen. It's insane, but it's because of her that I just keep going and still have this passion. And this is a festival that we started building. And because of her, I was in New York City because that's where she worked for 10 years. And I walked by this building in New York City and saw the colors, and this turned into Yorkies. And I was like, it is time. Everything is leading towards me doing my own thing. And I saw these colors, and then my wife is a designer, and she was like, well, let me put the colors palettes together. So this is salmon, and this is actually cantaloupe. So she put it all together, and then that kind of goes to, and then I reached out to my buddy, Nate. I promise this is really getting to the end. And Nate was like, let's do this, but let's create it even bigger. And this is what I want to do, and all the fines know this is what I want to do, but there's so much that I want to do that's not here yet. Greenhouses, more raised beds, like it's there. Like we can tell the story of what we have here in Virginia in this space that we have that comes off the interstate where I don't want to say Virginia Beach starts, but the vibe starts and tourists see, and like this could be the place where like, whoa, it's not just sandwiches in there, because we're not just sandwiches at Yorkies. And this is like the very beginning of Yorkies. I didn't even have, I had the lease, I guess. Don't get me in trouble, but I threw a party there with like Sam Clayman, and it was like, people were like, that was the best party I've ever gone to. And it was like, I was seeing people from middle school. And then I started working with the kids around here. This is Norfolk Academy. All of these kids are actually at the restaurant right now, talking about a future thing that we're doing. They built the raised beds that are out there. Kids did. So it's just like, can the kids do it? The answer is always yes. And then these are the same kids that I keep working with. And again, they are all over there, right? Actually, this is the older group, but these kids are working on a badge program that I want to introduce to the Vibe District on like working together to get your badges on common sense, because kids need to know common sense. So once you get your common sense badge, maybe we go to Pink Dinghy and get your ethnic cuisine badge. And you go work over there, and maybe you go work at Dristy and get your agriculture badge and all that stuff. And that just kind of creates a little bit more for the Virginia Beach program. So everything that I've done, let's kind of create a big thing. So that's some kids I brought out to Dristy. If you don't know what Dristy is, of course you do. You are all cool, hip people. But I brought them out there, and I taught them the understanding of like, hey, the little pieces of tomato, bad example because the ends of tomatoes that we use actually are tomato jam, but whatever scraps that we use goes to compost, which is Tidewater compost. Tidewater compost goes to Dristy. Dristy soil goes back to my raised beds. So that is a whole story that, yeah, some people were like, yeah, that's cool, but that's fucking real cool, okay? And then Yorkies happened, right? I'm not pitching it. I'm just saying that I'm following my path. But that's me really happy about it, because I did it for myself. I did it for my wife. I did it for all of these kids. But honest and truthfully, I did it for us. If you don't like the place, sure, don't like it. But it's not just a place for food. It's a place like if you think, hey, like, you know what? I think I want to do an event. Come pitch it, because I won't say no to any one of my staff members. My staff members, like I had a student say, man, it'd be cool to serve cocktails and give haircuts. I'm like, well, food and haircuts. But you know what? We did it. And he was like, you know what? That was not a good idea. Andrew, by the way, took these because he's here. This is like what I want it, right? And Andrew started like, again, I can talk about each and every one of you, but Alana gradually came in one day and was like, hey, I want a job. I mean, a lot better than that. But I was like, yeah, I'll see her in a minute. I'm busy. I think she like hung out for like an hour, but we hired her, and she's like the glue of Yorkies. And then she introduced me some even better glue. Alana, you're the great glue, but Andrew's great glue too, just really great glue. And he started taking photos of this place, and I'm like, wow, I'm at home. So when I'm here, I'm at home, but I want a lot of people to be at home. Like, again, I'm not building a space for you to just eat lunch. I'm building you a space that you feel good about, right? And then these people can keep coming back, and I can start doing all the things that I've done in the past here. Because my dad was like, why don't you do all that stuff here? So this is SeaTac. They grew those vegetables. They ate those vegetables. They prepped those vegetables. Now, first week in February, we start a program called the Men Project that I get to see these kids and 15 more kids and their mom and dads every Tuesday, that I'm working with like Wearings and hopefully WRV with exercise programs and stuff with that. They're gonna learn nutrition all here. And then hopefully they'll take bags of this stuff that they grow home, and it's cool to eat because we did it here, and like we can make food cool. And then this is just them prepping stuff. This is a student, again, making his focaccia. He's at Johnson & Wales now. We make our own focaccia. That's a pitch. Homegrown Harvest. These are chefs from all over Virginia that we have our own festival now out in Franklin. Again, it's kind of like this, look how dirty I am. But this is kids doing it But now, in the beginning, we were in Delaware. Now we're here. And this is what I want, and then we're creating. This is what we create. We're not going to get into this, but again, Robbie Wells and a lot of people in this room, Lauren, want to keep creating these experiences. And this was something that was done by students, like help the servers were students serving rosés from Le Quantité Betujete. And they were trying their hardest by saying it, but we enjoyed it. We created an experience, and we're going to keep doing it. And we did it that night. She is a student of mine back in the day, and now, or she went to school in Philadelphia, and guess where she worked with me last summer, and she has returned, and she starts working at Yorkies again on Wednesday. So it's like, why do they keep coming back? It's because we allow them to keep doing this stuff. Like they help with this pasta class. We keep growing gardens, and this is the end. I'm going boom, 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 but we keep growing gardens. We keep doing cooking classes, and we keep having fun. And as long as we do it together and not just try to be number one, then we can do it. It's not about it. Like if a sandwich shop opens up right beside me, I'm gonna go over there and give him a hug and say, let's do it. Like I don't care. But as long as we don't just want to be number one fighting, then we can create people who are number one. So these three people, I bet their parents are probably in this room. But as long as they keep like loving what they do and they want to do it, let's do it. So I think, I end it with these two. It's because this is the space that I want to create. This is Yorkies, right? We're not just a sandwich spot. And that's me. It's a little bit about me. Yeah.
Crushed it as expected. We've got time for just a couple quick questions, and then we're going to take our team photo. Lori?
I really don't have a question. I have something to say. I think you're
Okay.
wonderful, for
Thank you.
one. And I think people with minds like us that move so fast and that are into so many different things, and it's hard to understand the rhyme or the reason behind our way of thought. Mm-hmm. And you've got it together. And you, from start to finish, with these kids, with the Crop Foundation, with Yorkies, and everything you put your hands on, it's gold. And I admire
Thank you.
it.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I just want to tell you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else? Back? You got to come up here. Gotta see you.
Uh-oh. This is like one of my landlords up here.
The impact you've had is incredible. So many people think I have to have a ton of money. I have to build some kind of platform before I can do this. What do you say to encourage people to just start instead of waiting?
I think that kind of goes to with every one of these stories that I've said. You know, you gotta do it. You know, again, this is kind of I'll say this quick, is when I got back from the show, I wanted to open up the Norfolk bus station because it has done nothing, and I wanted to do it, and I was like, this is gonna cost $1 billion. And my dad always said, just do it. Like, people will give you the money and you'll figure it out, but you gotta just do it. A lot of people just do it and they fail, but they don't continue, I guess, the passion. They don't continue wanting to do it. But I was gonna take over Frank and Patty's. That was the first building I looked at, and I was like, this is great place to have sandwiches. But my dad was like, I want bigger. So we parked in front of Yorkies, and we saw all the cars go by. He was like, this is it, do it. And I'm like, Dad, I can't do it. He was like, you've done it. So when it comes down to all of these students, it was like, they've already done it. They've already gone through high school and middle school, which is the hardest thing ever, right? They've already been shamed. They've been humiliated. They've done all this horrible stuff. They've gone to work. They've gotten fired. They've already gone through the worst parts ever. And then they've learned from that. So you just got to just keep doing it. I guess that's really just do it. And I'm over, like, everybody in here, maybe y'all are going to be like, hey, I want to meet up with you and talk about this idea. I'm like, I'm not meeting with you, but we're going to do it. You know, so just make it happen and just do it. Yeah.
Your time's up. The sign's coming down. All right. Yes. One last question.
was with a vengeance.
All my energy.
How can we, anyone in this room, support the Crop Foundation and your mission with the Crop Foundation?
The first year, Yorkies took everything I had out of me. And when I say everything, again, the sad part was it happened. I think my dad was tired. I lost my dad in September. And he pushed me to do this. And I took a year and I pushed everybody. I was like, you can do it. I'm not actually on the schedule today, but I'm still gonna go in, of course. And I got so many things to do. But it's time for crop, right? So my dad, my mom was like, crop's not gonna fade away if Yorkies comes. I'm like, well, it's certainly gonna fade away for the first year. And it has. But I've always brought students. I've always, participated. Like I have students there right now. With leadership of other people, but it's time for crop to happen again. So bear with me. Like you're going to see. I'm very grateful for all the volunteers. But when I came back to Virginia Beach, I literally threw a class at Commune, or that first event at Commune called Crop 101, because I was like, nobody knows what crop is. So stay tuned for Crop 102. And let's show people what it really is. And then that's where we'll get bigger and bigger and bigger, because like there's a bunch of people like in this room that I've helped their kids get to this like point A, point B, point C. But at the end of the day, like I want to really help people, and like the scholarship thing is kind of over, because it kind of just like, I'm not saying anything wrong with college or anything wrong with trade school, but it's really about the opportunity. And that's why the badge program that I'm about to release is come to Yorkies, get this badge, but it's not all about Yorkies are like this place. I feel like I fail if I see any of my employees at Yorkies are with me when I'm like 80, like what am I doing? Like I really wish like I'm pushing everybody. I want to push everyone with their goals. That doesn't answer your question, but I'm just really saying stay tuned, because crop is a lot of focus this year.
Amazing job. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I think to touch on what you said, I mean, how many people in this room have been told that's not going to work or don't try that? I mean, all of us, right? So kudos to you for making it work.
Thank you.
We're going to throw open the door and try to get a quick photo, and then you may hound him with questions after. Thank you all. Come with me quickly. Come with me.